Katelyn, I just start from the beginning. I like to have a conversation with my neighbors, and
Okay.
I appreciate your time.
Yeah.
Thank you. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Beaverton, Oregon. I was raised in Cottage Grove, Oregon. It's 20 minutes south of Eugene, if you don't know where that is, on the I-5 corridor. Last Walmart before Roseburg. We're on the map. Very small town. I lived out of town. There's 4 kids in my family, including me. I was adopted. So was my older brother. We weren't adopted from the same family, but my parents didn't think that they could have kids, and then they found out that they could have kids, and so then my younger 2 siblings are not adopted. Yeah, but I'm the only person in my family that has dabbled outside of drinking and smoking weed ever. So
Was it a religious family or something?
very
Why was that?
religious.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, Roman Catholic family. So but it is what it is. But
I know all about that.
yeah, it's amazing. Like the more they push you to do things their way, like without actually figuring anything out for yourself, the more you go the opposite way, I guess. At least if you want to learn anything for yourself, really. But it's like that whole thing of, like that kind of judgmental society type thing. It's behind closed doors, what they say, but they don't act like that's the way they are out in the public,
Yeah. Well, tell me about your home life. What was that like with your brother? You said brother and
I have 2 brothers and 1 sister.
2. Okay, brother and sister.
Yes.
Wait, brothers and sister.
Yes, I have 1 older brother. He was adopted a year and a half before I was, and then I was born, and then my younger brother is a year younger than me, and my younger sister is 3.5 years younger than me. Probably hectic, I think, hectic for them, I guess, more or less, but I don't know, I guess I was kind of always like doing my own thing, really, but I was always kind of
Well, I guess pause real quick. Sorry to interrupt. How old were you when you went into that family?
Oh, I was adopted from birth.
Oh, from birth.
Yeah,
Got
so
it.
was my older brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha,
So,
gotcha.
and they were closed adoptions. So I found out I was adopted when I was 6, I think, but my parents insisted they were telling us our whole life. I can remember back to like things that happened to me when I was 3 years old, but I cannot remember them telling me that, So I'm like, I don't know, but maybe you did, I don't know. Maybe you didn't get around to it or make it really that clear, but whatever. But, yeah, so my brother his family that he was adopted from was pretty broken, and there's lots of kids that he's got more siblings, and I'm the only person that was born on both my parents' side. So both my mom and my dad, my biological parents, I'm the only child from both of them. So, sorry, that's a little distracting. They like to make sure everyone can hear what they've got going on, But yeah.
So growing up in that small town, what would you guys do for fun? And
I like to read books. That was my thing. I read books
Bookworm, yeah.
religiously. Religious books even. I think I read an 800-page book in one sitting. Once. When I say one sitting, I mean with bathroom and food breaks. But but yeah, that was my thing. I like to read, and I was into my schoolwork and doing everything I could to try to get an edge on being, in good college and doing all the whatevers,
Tell me about that. Sounds like you went to high school.
I was I was not as valedictorian in my class, but I got a A- in my calculus class, AP calculus class. Devastating. But
Was that devastating for you or your parents?
It was devastating for me.
you?
Man, no. My parents were so happy they had one kid that they didn't need to push to do anything in school, but they were pushing me towards doing sports and being more well-rounded in other areas. Things that I didn't want to do. Do all the things you don't want to do.
They tend to do that.
Oh yeah, my family. They said all we want you to do is be happy, except for.
Okay.
If my family, if you can be anything you want, you just can't be overweight. Every single analogy they ever had was always if fat people, this is an addiction that people have, and
wow.
it was every analogy I've ever gotten has been people with food and eating.
How did that impact you growing up?
I mean, as a female, you know, it's like, was kind of all my focus, I guess you'd say. So it's like weird. You know, like for the longest time I was convinced that I wasn't overweight. Well, I'm also like 5'9", you know, like I outgrew like my mom and my younger sister very quickly. So, you know, it's like, I mean, I've been like face to face with my parents for like, since I was like in middle school. So, you know, that kind of, I guess.
Their messaging was always constantly about your weight?
Oh, no, not about my weight per se, but
or other people's weight?
My mom was more about like posture and, you know, like how your outward appearance towards everybody, you know.
Indirectly, it's like.
My dad is all like, you know, like if he had an analogy for anything, it was always like how to be doing better at anything. It was like, you know, it was always about fat people, like not like, you know, eating, you know.
Wow. Interesting.
But or like, you know, kind of things like that. Or I feel, you know, like my family's like middle class-ish, you know. My dad's an elementary school teacher, so needless to say, 4 kids in his household was not always the most exciting thing for his days off or times at home from work, you know. So that was great, you know. Yeah, but I mean, I think that's like what I kind of like learned, I guess, like how you don't really know what anyone else has got going on, you know, at home, and like you never know what anyone else is dealing with, you know, because my dad was a public elementary school teacher, you know. So, but he loves his job and he still does not want to retire from his job and he's been doing this for 50 years, I believe. He's 71.
Still the town that you grew up in?
No, actually, he's at a Catholic school now, which is much easier to be at a private school than it is to be at a public school, you know. But you know, because the parental support is different, you know. He has to tell his parents to chill out, whereas he has to like try to engage with more of the people's parents, you know, in my hometown. But he's kind of like a pillar of the community, I guess you'd say. So
it sounded like did you go to college after high school?
I did, yeah. I went to Oregon State University. I had, I guess, met like a really, I guess you'd say I had like a really horrible like first relationship or whatever you want to call it, you know. So that kind of like shaped my whole life from that point forward, I guess you'd say.
Tell me more a little bit.
I was just in like a really abusive relationship with someone who like knew how to, I guess, like psychologically, you know, like make me feel alienated from my like family and like social groups and, you know, like everything, and just kind of like he like stalked me and, you know, like, I mean, he would like pick me up from school at lunchtime and like not take me back to school, you know. And like, but you know, it was just, he introduced me to drugs and, you know, every real thing that I was never supposed to have come in contact with in my life, you know.
So you said your first relationship in high school, not really.
Oh no, my first relationship was my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I was raised Roman Catholic, you know.
Yeah.
So, and I lived out of town, so.
Gotcha. But
you know,
when you're in college, you're like free to do.
Kind of, I guess. Well, I mean, I had that relationship for, I mean, like, he didn't really leave me alone, you know? So, you know, like, that was, which was, like, you know, definitely not something that my family wanted me to be around, and definitely not something that was good for me or whatever, but I guess he introduced me to drugs and, you know, was psychologically whatever, you know, towards me, and so, you know, you kind of, whatever you want to call it, Stockholm Syndrome or whatever you want to call it, you know, but it was really strange because I was just like, I mean, like, when it came down to it, like, ultimately, like, his mom, who also had, like, a drug problem, and his family had, you know, drug problems, whatever, like, ultimately, like, his mom would always, you know, be somebody that would try to help me, you know, like, when it came down to it, like, but as a whole, like, family unit, I genuinely feel like his family, like when it came down to it, would support him more than I've ever had like support from my family. And like, you know, it's like when it comes to shove, you know, my parents are like, well, what do you feel like everyone else is feeling like, or why do you think other people are doing what they're doing or how they're acting, you know? Like my mom is more of like a solutions type person, like my, you know, like a guy would be, I guess you'd say. So, you know, not like you know, I can see where you're coming from, you know, I can see why you would act that way, or why you feel like that, or
wasn't really.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's not that empathy and compassion wasn't there, it's just she didn't know how to show it, I guess.
Right.
And I didn't really know that she was doing it, you know, like in the ways that she was doing it, you know, like the nurturing, like, I guess okay, like I went to treatment like when I was like 23, like after I had my first child, I like kind of lost it because I, you know, put him up for adoption, which is obviously was definitely the best case, you know, scenario for him, and was definitely the best route for me to go down for him. But, you know, I obviously my own personal life and my own needing, you know, like whatever I need, you know, like wasn't being taken care of. Oh, that's my own fault, you know. But I kind of like finally realized like where everything, you know, everything that I probably should have learned. I honestly feel like public schools are just a waste of time, because like if I had learned anything that I learned like in all the self-help and like therapy, I guess you could say, that I got going to a treatment facility like rehab, like where it's person-centered, like helping you help yourself and figure out where your responsibility lies, what you need to be doing with yourself, and how you need to be promoting your own personal well-being and your own like progression like forward, and like just your own happiness, you know, like regardless of what that looks like to anybody else, you know, like that would have changed my life. You know, I spent my whole life like trying to help, like trying to do what other people wanted me to do or what society said I had to be doing, you know, like, and it did not have anything to do with me being happy or doing things that I genuinely enjoyed. Like I was constantly like killing myself for like stressing over things that I did not even need to stress over, that never mattered, and that I really had like all this concentration on things that I don't even like don't help me at all today, don't affect my life at all, you know, like
I think I'm glad you're aware of that. Some people never.
I know, like I say, treatment changed my life. Obviously it didn't get me sober, you know, completely, but it did change my life.
Well, tell me more about that. You mentioned a little bit, you're 23, you had a child.
Yes,
and then you said you kind of were like, I need some help.
Well, no, my family told me I needed some help, and I was like, well, I don't think that I really want to go get help, and I'm pretty sure that if you guys want to just disown me, then like fuck you guys anyways, and I'll just go die under a bridge by myself, because I was like a super fucked up person like during that time frame, like, but to me it was like I was a victim in my own life, you know, and I needed people to know that they victimized me, you know, and it did not like, that doesn't, you know, like it was just like, you know, what does that do for anybody? Like, what does it do for anybody?
So how did
you know?
You end up finally going to treatment?
Oh, I went to, okay, so that's what happened. I went over to a friend's house after the fight with my family, you know, about like them wanting me to go to treatment and whatnot, and I was sitting in a room full of people that were like digging through the couch and the dirty ass carpet for like things to shoot up into their arms and stuff, and I like did not use needles or anything like that during that time frame, and I'm like looking at these people and I'm like, I don't like any of you, and this is like a really huge waste of my life. And I was like, you're probably right about that. Like I should definitely be doing something else, you know. I went home like literally that night, like, well, then I also like was in my vehicle and I got stopped by the cops, and then the guy that was sitting in the front seat with me, the cop was like, hello, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
Like you recognized him.
Oh, recognized, like, yeah, the guy I was with, and I was like, really? Like, wow, okay. It was just like one thing after another, you know, where I was like, wow, like this is not my life, and I don't want this to be the way I live, you know? So, yeah, and I also like had like a massive psychological break, which I would attribute to postpartum depression, but who really knows? You know, like, because if you put drugs in the factor, it's like,
could be a combination. Who knows?
You know, you never know. Who knows what it was? But like, you know, that's always going to be like the number one.
So it was kind of
thing.
like the storm, and you're like, you know what? I need to step out of this.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I definitely like needed to change something because it wasn't going to get any better, you know.
Yeah.
And I like kind of realized that like I was definitely not doing anything that I wanted to be doing.
And were you in college at this time?
No,
You were done with college?
Yeah.
Or?
I went to college for 3 years, and then I decided that I wanted to drop out of college because I was like barely holding it together, you know, like just like, I mean, like yeah, it's just like I didn't have a good relationship with my family. I didn't really have I didn't have a vehicle to drive myself around. I had full body hives from some random thing that happened to me during my freshman year that carried over into my sophomore year, you know, and it was like I had to walk everywhere, like go to the store for all my groceries, and I had hives on my entire body.
Wow.
You know, it was horrible. And I was on all these different kinds of steroid medications and things like that. Hey, drop that, drop it. Hey, baby, I know you want it. Hey, drop it. No. Okay, come here, honey. Come here, sit down. Here, baby, come here. Good boy. Sorry.
Okay.
But you know, it was just kind of a different college experience, you know, and I was spending a lot of money, which my dad would remind me of every time we spoke, you know, and it just wasn't going well. I was, you know, if I wasn't, I pretty much spent the majority of my college career either studying or partying, really, and that was really my only focus when I was there, and it was mostly because I just didn't really know how to cope with all of the things I had put myself through up until that point in my life, which had not occurred to me until I went to treatment and really finally realized what my responsibility in my life was and what things I was in control over and where, you know, no, sorry.
Okay.
That didn't work at all, but
it's just a sock.
I know, it's so gross. He was with a dead rabbit earlier. It was just bad.
That could
Anyways,
be worse.
Yep, it could be worse.
So you seem very aware that you're coping with something.
Oh, I mean, now in my life, I was a drug and alcohol counselor for 3.5 years after I went to treatment. So, and I was in treatment for a long time, which I extended for my own self, when I was there, which was probably the most where I've ever been of what I needed for myself, you know, and what was going on then, you know. I think that everybody really should have the opportunity to take a moral inventory, regardless of where you are in your life or whether or not you use drugs or alcohol or if you have other vices or whatever it is, you know, because lots of people are busybodies, you know, and they like to try to ruin other people's lives for whatever reason, or make other people bend to their will, you know, for what reason I don't know, you know,
lots of people are coping in lots of different
yep,
ways.
and you know, hate is a huge thing that people use to, people just hate people they don't know for what reason I don't understand, you know, I've experienced a lot of that in this homeless, you know, ness area, you know.
Tell me more about that.
So I came up here because my ex-boyfriend broke up with me and his mom died, and he was like, I need you to leave me alone. I want you to go away. I need you to leave. And I was like, okay. You know, we were together for 5 years. You know, it was all right, obviously, I can't force myself, you know, into your life or to be there for you, you know, for whatever it is, you know, that you're going through. If you don't want me around, I gotta go. So I left. I wrecked my vehicle, and then I ended up being stuck in Aberdeen for a while, and then had obviously horrible things. Aberdeen's a great place, not at all. No, Aberdeen's a terrible place. But I was stuck in Aberdeen by myself without any phone, car, or anything, you know, at the will and whim of random people I don't know, you know, it was a really genuinely life-changing experience. I've never been in that position before, you know,
and where
ever.
Were you living? Were you living in your car?
I was not living anywhere. I didn't have a car anymore.
Oh, what were you sleeping on? That's when you.
I was literally out on the sidewalk.
Was that the first time you're on the street?
I put myself on the street before, you know, when I was at in my hometown, but that's not really on the street because I have friends and people that I can go to. My parents' house, you know, where I could shower and eat,
this was
you know,
the place where you had none of that.
I had nobody and nothing, and
so
every time I tried to get a hold of my ex-boyfriend to help me ever, he he would be like, oh yeah, I'll be right there, and like would never show up. You know, and it was like he was like supposed to be like the person, you know, like he like we were supposed to get married and like have life together, you know, like we like were looking at buying a house together, and like we were sober together for like 2.5 years, you know, and then he relapsed pretty badly, and you know, it just kind of went from there.
So
you know?
How did you make it from Aberdeen to Seattle?
Oh, we quit our jobs as drug and alcohol counselors because the program that I worked for and went to was amazing, incredible. They were a Scientology-based program before I went there, so it was kind of like a weird culty vibe, I guess you could say, which, I mean, everything that you do really, I mean, you know, in whatever lifestyle that you're living, you know, if you're really passionate about it, it's kind of your whole entire life. So, I mean, like, whatever way you want to say it, you know, but it just wasn't like where we wanted to be, I guess you could say. But I mean, I really honestly think that my ex-boyfriend was just having like really horrible like cravings, you know, for using, and he wanted to move back
here. So I
here.
understand correctly, so you guys were doing this in Aberdeen? The
Aberdeen?
counseling? Aberdeen?
No,
In
I
Oregon?
moved to Watsonville, California.
Oh, okay, I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, sorry. That's
and that's where the
skipping around.
That's okay.
Yeah, so I went to Watsonville, California.
That's where the program was?
That's where the program was.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Elevated Addiction Services. It's really incredible, honestly. It's very expensive
And
now.
that's where you became a counselor for 3 years?
I did, yes.
And then how did you from there you went to?
Westport, Washington.
Okay, gotcha. And then you just kind of kept going?
Well, so I was in Westport, Washington with my ex-boyfriend for probably 2 years before we started having like problems, you know, whatever. Back then I had a lot more financial stability and family stability, you know, like, so, but then like, you know, during COVID, lots of stuff happened, all that stuff happened between me and like my family unit, you know, and all the things, all the, you know, I guess you could say all the areas in my life that I had built back up, you know, that were keeping me like accountable and sober, you know, like
your support system.
Yeah, all my accountability, you know, and I tried going back to school and doing all these different facets. I was a preschool teacher for a little while. I did a lot of different things, really, but you know, nothing really kind of like stuck with me, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like mostly it was just my you know, my relationship and like my ex-boyfriend's like, you know, life and his own stability and his well-being kind of became my whole focus, you know, or whatever, which is never good. But I mean, yeah, very sad. But yeah, that kind of changed everything for me, I guess. But that's the reason why I'm up here. I ended up moving in with a friend of mine that I had met down in Westport, and after my car, I finally found a person that I could stay with for a while, you know, and I mean, she's got her own issues too, but I ended up buying a car from her, and I came up to Fife to go to a casino, and just kind of like decided not to go back to Westport.
So why did you go to that casino? What was the
Fife?
Yeah, what was the reason for the casino specifically? For like
Emerald Queen Casino, you know, like when you live out in Westport, you know, like the casinos are like, there's a Connaught, there's the Tokeland, you know, there's the Lucky Eagle. It's like that's Indian tribal community area, you know, like that's what's going on.
Curious about it, just like it's happening there, like.
I was my girlfriend's birthday, and she wanted to go to the casino, you know, and we tried going to the Seven Feathers one,
I see, or
something like that.
So you ended up there,
and
then
yeah, it was closed. So then we went to Emerald Queen.
Gotcha. And then from Fife you came up to here.
From Fife I went to Lakewood. My car got stolen, and it was still registered to my girlfriend, who I just bought it from, and she did not report it stolen for me, and I just kind of got stuck, I guess. And then I ended up meeting some random person in Federal Way. Well, so how I got my car stolen, I guess I should say, is I went to Tacoma Mall. I was on my way back to Westport, actually, at the time. And I went to Tacoma Mall, and some random dude, like, asked me if I could give him a ride home, you know? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, my car was thrashed. I was like, yes, sure, you know, why not help somebody today? You know, like, absolutely, I'd love to, you know? And that ended up being like the worst thing I probably could have ever done. But at the same time, everything happens for a reason, I guess, too. But he ended up either messing with my ignition or somebody else tried to steal my car when we had gotten to the place where I was dropping him off at. So
you had to like leave your car there or something?
No. I parked it in like the church parking lot, which is like right outside the driveway. Like his house is like the house like on the corner of the street, like where it like comes out, like the two roads like come right here, and his house is like right here, and it's like a duplex or whatever. So there's like multiple people living in this house, you know, and there's like not a whole lot of parking there. So they had me park like literally like there's a fence for the backyard, and then like my car was like right there. Right. So you could like look out the window, you can see my car. You know, I ended up going over there, and I had been running around for quite a while, so I fell asleep when I went inside and like literally like sat down and was just hanging out, you know, and like fell asleep inside. And so when I went back out to my car, I tried to start my car with a car key, and it wouldn't work in my ignition any longer. And then my car key came up missing when I was there, and it was just like a whole lot of really weird things just like happening, you know, during that time frame. Yeah. And like a whole lot of people like trying to, you know, date me or have me whatever. I don't really even understand that. Yeah, I'm like whatever kind of I'm watching Bones. I had like never experienced like these types of people before. So I mean, like as like drug use goes or whatever, I like was always kind of amongst friends, I guess you could say, you know, like regardless of all of the I mean whatever, but yeah, it was very, very life changing. And then it's just kind of progressed, you know, into Seattle because
so how long have you been in Seattle?
I have been in Seattle since last year on August-ish time.
So have you been housed or unhoused?
I have not been housed. So I like hitched a ride with some random person that works up here, you know, like from Federal Way. I went to the mall and like got stuck there, and this random person was like, I worked there in the morning, like I'll take you. And I did have a friend that I met up with up here, and he was supposed to take me back to where I was planning on going in the morning, and he just was like, I gotta go to work, you know? Yeah. So that was it. That's how I got stuck in Seattle.
And that was a year ago.
Yeah.
So Katelyn, what are you doing to cope? How are you coping with all this?
I mean, like every single thing that I've done, like up until this point, have all been like my choices. You know what I mean? Like really, when it comes down to it, regardless of what those are, you know. And I mean, I'm 31 years old. You know, like I mean, I can't like really blame anybody else, you know, for anything that's going on. And I also don't really hate like the group of people that I've been around or anything like that, you know. And I've like done so much customer service and like so much like helping other people and doing what other people want me to be doing, like for my whole life, you know. Like it's just like finally I'm like just doing what I want to be doing, you know, like regardless of what that may be and whatever it looks like, you know. Yeah. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a glamorous lifestyle. It's definitely not. This is very humbling, you know. Oh, also too, I have a like pretty like extensive like autoimmune disorder too, so like that was kind of like a huge life-changing thing for me, you know. But like yeah, that's I mean another reason why it's kind of like I like tried having jobs, you know, that just I can't like really be at my job, you know, in the condition that I'm in. Usually I have currently been doing much better, but that's because I use drugs, which is not like the thing that I was expecting to have come from my, you know, drug use, which is very strange. But at this point in time, like until I can really find another like solution for that, like I've kind of honestly, I would rather live this way like than live in like extensive amounts of physical pain. You know, like I did not have any idea what that was like until, you know, this. So, I mean, like it's very strange. Yeah, like it's totally not like whatever you want to call it, but it's really crazy like how much help people get out here. You know, like I had no idea that, like food stamps, never heard of those things my whole life. You know, like housing for free for people. You know, like that's awesome. You know, like all the different services that are provided for you are incredible. The only things that stand in your way really are the other people that tell you can't do something or that steer you in the wrong direction, or you know, like.
So it's
the people that ruin it for everybody else, yeah. You know. So that's it, you know.
Is housing something that you are hoping to get?
Yes, I have been pursuing housing. I did live in one of the shelters for a little while. My ex-boyfriend started becoming really abusive, so which is the reason why I live out here. Because I was like house and hotel room hopping, you could say, because nobody's like, you don't look like somebody that hangs out here, you know. So I was like, yeah, I know, right? Like, but I am. It's really crazy, but yeah, my ex-boyfriend just started becoming really abusive, and he actually like got me like removed from my last housing area. So, but I mean, like after he got kicked out, you know, he like was like standing outside my window, knocking on the window like all day and all night for like 4 days.
Katelyn, a question I got for you: what do you want the people of Seattle to know?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. People of Seattle, wow. That's a large, heavy thing to say. All of the people that like help us out here, you know, like, thank you, you know, like, cause that's like incredible. The community of people that come together to like take care of other people, that's awesome, you know, and like the group of people I've met and like the people and the community that I've had here is like literally like nothing else that I've ever experienced in my life, you know, like as far as like people taking care of other people, you know, and like that you don't know, you know, just because it's pretty awesome, you know. Hey, buddy. I know he's terrible.
Oh, it's okay.
Like this guy. This is not my dog. You know,
Yeah.
That's not my dog. You know what I mean? Like that's like what I mean, like the sense of community type thing, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
You know, like but like all of the people, you know, that like kind of want to make our lives harder out here, you know, it's like it's kind of like a weird. People like to blare their horns as we, you know, as we're out here like sleeping or whatever. You know, like not everybody out here wants to like take over your like area where you run your business or like steal from you. You know, like that's not, I don't make a living stealing from people. I have a savings, you know, like that I'm still living off of. I like clean every single pile of garbage I ever see, you know, like a lot of us over here do. Like, but people literally bring trash to our spot. People come over to our spot and leave garbage all the time. Like it's like I can clean that spot all day, every day, and there'll still be trash there.
What people who are doing that?
Just people that come by to see us. Like people will stop by and leave trash there. When I was living over by the 85th Fred Meyers, people that we don't even know were leaving trash at our spot because we were homeless and we were there, and they just throw trash. I cleaned the whole street block every single day because I was like, there's no, like, we can't get kicked out if we're not doing anything wrong, right? Like, but that doesn't matter, you know, because people don't want to see you there. But it's like, if they don't offer you a place to go, what do you do? You know, like, I don't know where else to go, and it's snowed. Like, I've been, like, literally, like, huddled with no coat and no, like, blanket and nothing, like, in snow, you know, like, freezing with... Nobody cares about you then, you know, and like usually that's the time when people are being the worst, you know, like when you're in the most need, you know, like that's really what is like kind of the sad part about it. But you know, like I just want people to realize like basic human decency and being a good person isn't a hard thing to do, you know, and like just because you don't know what someone else is going through and you don't understand it and you see the piles of trash, people dump their own garbage at every single campsite I've ever been at. People come at nighttime and dump truckloads of trash because people are gonna come pick up the garbage anyways and they want us out of the neighborhood. Not everybody's trying to ruin it, the place that you live. We just don't know where else to go, you know? And like, what are we gonna do, you know? Like, I don't necessarily want to live this way, but I don't really have any other options, and no one's coming to save me, so what else am I going to do, but it is what it is, like I said, I'm 31 years old. I'm responsible for myself, when it comes down to it. All my choices leading up to this moment in my life have all been my own, so I can't blame anybody else, and I can't say that anyone else is good or bad or whatever, but I don't judge people because that's the way that people should be, I mean, obviously this is kind of imposing on other people's lives, but at the same time, we're really not, not everybody, at least. But the mental health, like the people with like horrible mental health issues that are out here on the street, that's the reason why things are so bad, like with the homeless community. And it's because those people that have mental health issues are not having the help that they need. And that's the reason why people get a bad rap, because they're the ones that are doing all the crazy thefts and like smoking drugs in front of people's kids and like not caring about what other people see or their trash or whatever, like that's it. Like it's a huge issue. And like actually identifying like real mental health issues and not like telling people that they're crazy just because they don't want to deal with them anymore, or like put them into another facet because they can't find them the help that they really need or whatever it is, or because they don't want to do their job. Anyways, it's a human issue. It's the world that we live in, and unfortunately it's the way that it is, but if people could just like try to be decent, like don't even be kind, just be decent, that would be awesome, because everybody has their shit, like just because, sorry, everybody has their things, like I'm not trying to impose like any of the things that I'm doing on your kids or on your life, or, like I will cross the street if I see people with kids coming by, because like I already know, like I wouldn't want someone's dog jumping on my child, or like you just see people and they're like, how are they gonna act? What are they gonna say? Like how's it gonna go? So like I do everything I possibly can to make sure the public is not being imposed upon by my lifestyle, So just try to be decent.
Katelyn,
police officers, be decent, please.
Thanks so much for sharing your story. It's good to hear your voice. I appreciate it. Thanks for being open.
Yep, thank you. Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Long-winded.
Do not be sorry. It's fine.
Long-winded.
It's your time to do you.
Yeah.
Let me grab that mic from you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to grab a couple photos.
Yeah, this is my boyfriend. He's in my life right now. He's in my life, He's also a toddler, so.